Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I might have been a total a-hole to my dad, and maybe even to the kid indirectly, but wanted some opinions. Dad was a single parent to me, 17 male, and my sister, 18 female, from the time we were 5 and 6. Our mom died from a brain aneurysm suddenly, and Dad was a really good support to us. He took time off work and devoted his attention to us. That eased off after the first couple of years, but the important part was he was still around for us. He'd show up to a few school plays or football games. He'd make time for us as a family, and for one-on-one time. He was our whole world by then, and we loved the dad that he was. But then when I was 10, he met his wife Sadie and her 2 kids, 19 months male and 3 female. Dad told me and my sister that he and Sadie were going to make a family, so he was going to be there for his stepkids to get to know and bond with them, and Sadie would do the same for us, and we should rely on Sadie and not on him. And Sadie's kids would rely on him and not her. It was so ducking infuriating. We told Dad we wanted him, not Sadie, and Dad told us his stepkids, who weren't even his stepkids at the time, needed him more. Dad stopped doing anything for us then, and Sadie tried, but we didn't want her. We were so angry and jealous and hurt that Dad dropped us for some random woman's kids. Their wedding day was a crap show because they wanted Sadie's kids with Dad and my sister and me with Sadie, and we didn't want to be at the wedding at all. My grandma and grandpa tried to step in and talk to Dad, but he told them to stay out of it. He said we needed to get used to Sadie and to having younger siblings. We never accepted Sadie or her kids. We just withdrew completely, and the resentment and anger grew. I once told my dad to his face that my mom would be so disgusted that he picked someone else's kids over us, and I hope that he realizes that for himself one day. My sister bailed the second she turned 18. About a year ago, Sadie's son was diagnosed with some kidney issue, and it turned out a few months later that his liver was also affected. He's getting these different treatments, and there were some issues with some of the treatments. I don't really know. I never cared enough to pay attention. But my dad followed me to my sister's one day last week, and he told us he needs our help. That he'd like us to spend some time with the kids, and maybe help out with money so they struggle less paying for everything. My sister told him to go to hell. I laughed and mockingly told him that I was surprised he remembered we were his kids at all when he has his little precious stepkids who mean so much to him. Dad reacted more to my response than to my sister's. He was shocked, pissed, and probably even a little offended. He asked me how I could say something like that when his stepson's so sick. He also told me that he was there for us when Mom died, and why did we act like he left us with nobody when we could have had Sadie, but we discarded her? Am I the a-hole? OP's dad had some very mixed up ideas. Not sure where he got the parenting idea that forcing a new stepmom on OP and his sister would be the way forward, and that his kids would be happy with it. Some men get so hypnotized by women that they forget they even have kids. OP's dad intentionally chose to stop being OP's and his sister's dad. The moment he did that, OP stopped owing him a family. Dad picked his family. I feel for the sick kid, but why is it OP's job to do anything for him now? And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole, but maybe you should tell him that it's time he acknowledges that his bizarro plan for uniting your 2 families was an ill-conceived, abysmal failure that caused you and your sister lasting emotional harm, and his relationship with the 2 of you permanent damage, and that his current idea that he can fix those things by emotionally blackmailing you on the back of a deathly ill child is just sick. Your father needs counseling. Your whole messed up family does. But he should go first. I'd love to hear him explain to an objective outsider why, when it quickly became clear that his crappy plan wasn't working, that he didn't reconsider and change course to try and fix things for 7 bloody years. Not the a-hole. You told him repeatedly that you weren't happy. Your grandparents tried to tell him, and he ignored them. He can't be surprised now that you don't want anything to do with him. It's sad for his stepson, but you are absolutely under no obligation for anything. Not the a-hole. Sad for the stepbrother, but this isn't your problem. Your dad messed up big time, and this is the consequence. Live your life and be happy. Maybe let him know he actually did the discarding of you. I assume OP will be out of the door at 18 also. So, nearly a year ago, I, 24 female, started to talk to someone on Bumble, male 28, and we completely hit it off and quickly exchanged numbers. We started dating and it was perfect. Hours and hours talking on the phone, and when we got off the phone, we would be texting all day non-stop. We started to see each other about twice a week. A month into being together, I found out that he was married. My immediate reaction was utter outrage, of course, and I messaged her to tell her. However, it turned out they had separated, and she knew he was seeing me. The kicker, though, was that they were still living in the house they rented together, because the lease wasn't due to end until 4 or 5 months' time. Plus, they got married because she needed a visa to stay in the country. I should have left then. So much mess and baggage. But I guess you all realize by now that I haven't. We kept seeing each other. She was very angry that we were, and she would constantly tell me to get out of their lives so they can fix the marriage. But I was constantly told by him that the marriage was over before he met me, and that he does not want to get back with her. He was unhappy, and now he is happy with me. Fast forward to 6 months together. Neither of them have filed for divorce, so she can sort out her visa problems before telling immigration that their spousal visa is now void. I know I'm a fool. However, he is no longer living in their house and has moved into his parents' house, which I go to regularly. He has met all my family and has started to come to family occasions too. However, I found out for the past month or so that they have been having S together. He begs me to give him another chance and says he doesn't know why he did that and has no excuse. So again, I continue to be an idiot. But in July, he wanted to go on break because I was finding all the issues with his divorce that still hadn't begun yet, and his wife and all that drama. So he wanted to go, sort everything out, and then come back to me because he didn't want to keep hurting me and feels like he is ruining us, and he wants a long term with me and is scared if he doesn't go and fix everything, then that is at risk. 4 days. I repeat, 4 days into this break, he can't do it. He tells me he can't live without me and is so sorry and made a huge mistake and wants me back. It takes time, but we got to a great place. We had a holiday booked for September for months. A week before we went on holiday, the wife flew back to her home country because she told immigration they were no longer together and that she will file for divorce abroad and try to get a work visa to come back to the UK. The holiday was amazing. It was. We were so happy, and I really felt a huge weight off my shoulders now that she was gone. I really felt like we could live our lives together. I thought it would be the new chapter and leaving all the hurt and pain behind. Fast forward again now to this week. 11 months together, a million happy memories, and really truly believing things were perfect for each other. I thought he was the one. We talked about a future together, about children. We were about to move in together. We talked about how we would try IVF to get pregnant because we both have fertility issues, and we talked about if it never happened, we could adopt. We talked about it all. I apparently was the love of his life, his soulmate. He was the love of my life, and he was my soulmate. He told me 3 days ago that when we were on our break, he had S with his ex-wife, and now she is pregnant with his child. He has no idea what he is going to do. He never thought he could have kids, and he's always wanted them, so he's not going to abandon his baby. She needs to try and come back, but if she can't, he might have to move to where she is. If he stays, he wants me back. He says I belong by his side, and he is so sorry he ruined us, and how I am the love of his life. I just wanted to disappear, and so I've been in a hotel ever since. I don't really know what I'm looking for on here, but I just don't have many people to talk to about the exact truth, because I didn't tell many people he was married, and not a single member of my family knew that either. I've just said that he got someone pregnant, and I've not spoken to anyone really. We had our whole lives planned, and now it's all gone. I feel so lost, so heartbroken. I guess I got what I deserved though. I'm so confused as to what to do. I'll accept any comments or insight, even if they are negative to me. Time to leave, honey. He's played the two of you and has never been honest with you. You find out he lied, and you were a side piece, and you stay. Now you find out all the reasons he wanted a break were a lie. He wanted to have space to bang his wife, and you're still going to stay. I'm sorry you're going through this. My best advice would be to realize that if you stay with him, you will have a lifetime of pain. His ex will use his child, if it is his, to control and manipulate him. Relationships are not easy. One of the biggest issues that couples argue about is money, and he is now on the hook for this child, including college. Think about the future, and you're saving for a vacation or a house, etc. And you're getting frustrated because a huge chunk of his income is going to his child, ex. He has very poor coping skills. When things get even remotely tough, he runs from you to her and her to you. The beginning of your relationship was based on a complete lie. 11 months seems like a long time to you, but I assure you that it's nothing compared to a divorce after 10 plus years, when you discover he's cheated on you again. You're young and deserve so much better than the lies and BS he is feeding you. Start by envisioning a happy, drama-free future. It's attainable, just not with him. Update. So I got in contact with the ex-wife about 2 hours ago. Turns out she never was deported out of the UK. He said it because he was worried that my one friend that knew the truth about the visas would tell immigration because she did not like him. He has continuously been sleeping with her, and it was not only just on our break. He wanted the break to be able to end things cause he felt so bad. But then, during the break, he missed me and needed me in his life so much he wanted to be back together. Everything was a lie. There were no good times. I was just wearing rose-tinted glasses the entire time. Without a heartbeat of hesitance, this is over. I said what I needed to say to him. Everything was a lie and clouded by lies. Cheaters cheat. Cheaters lie. Cheaters love the term break because it keeps you around while they, not cheat on you. Things don't begin or end with the break. Most of the time, things have been going on long before and continue long after. Be rid of this guy and his not your baby. I recently got an email from my sister-in-law about how I have hurt her and her kids. I would like to get an opinion on the nature of this email and my own reaction to it. I am pretty calm emotionally, and it only bothers me because she brought my mom into it. So I would like to help keep the peace, if only because I love my mom. Sister-in-law is married to my brother, John, who is 34. Sister-in-law is about 32. They have 2 kids, Tay and Jay. The boys are about 8 and 10. Apparently, Tay and Jay were offended by my attitude regarding my dog and complained direly to sister-in-law, which I think is BS, but I get ahead of myself. Here is pretty much what she wrote, but whittled down to the important parts. Dear DL, I am writing because we are getting together this year at your parents' home, and I want to know if we will be allowed to visit you at all. The kids love Doggy and want to spend time with you, but you have always been someone who seems better than your family, so I just want to open some things up before we visit. Then she added a point-by-point of how I ducked up. You did not allow the boys to have any food at your home, which was offensive. You gave them water and did not share your soda. They showed up without asking, and I live with a roommate. The food they wanted belonged to her. Also, I was pretty much on food stamps for the period they were there. I did not have the money or the ability to feed their children and eat myself. I also had other things to do and didn't want to visit with sister-in-law, her kids, or my brother while trying to get to work. You told us we had to leave before we felt ready, which is terrible guests. They showed up without asking. You put your dog in your bedroom because Doggy hates kids. It was offensive. My dog doesn't like kids. I'm not sure what she wanted me to do. Let her bite them? You came to one dinner and spoke to us for 10 minutes before your friend picked you up to go drinking. You did not get anything for your nephews at any holiday and do not call or wish them a happy anything. You have always been rude and did not open your home to us when we needed somewhere to stay recently on our way through. You only do things if Carol, my mom, asks. Carol has said she wishes you were closer with John. You don't know anything about the boys at all, and when asked their ages, you asked me. We love you and want to spend more time with you, but this holiday, we don't think we will waste any money on you. We hope to see you, but if you plan to be a B, then don't bother coming Xmas night. I wanted to write her back and pretty much unleash years of pent-up frustration on her for all the things she has done, but I wanted to know what the most kosher way to handle this would be. I really hate her and my brother. They are a-holes and can't even remember the name of my boyfriend, let alone what degree I got. I'm not trying to make this a battle and take it out on their kids, but I have no interest in their lives, their kids included. I am nice to the kids when they show up, but I am not going to starve because they don't want to drive the kids to the store themselves. So, any help? I don't see a problem with replying with a similar version to what you posted here. Dear sister-in-law, I'm sorry to hear you were upset after your visit, but please remember that you showed up at my house without me inviting you. How could I have known that you expected me to feed your children? As for the dog, it's true that she hates children. What was I supposed to do? Let my dog bite your kids? I'm not sure what type of relationship you want with me. Maybe you expect me to provide a child-friendly, well-stocked home that is open for you to drop in on any time. I can only assume that you would like it if I visited your home often as well. But I'm not really interested in this degree of closeness. I value my privacy and would never impose on yours. I know you're not interested in being close with me either, because you and my brother have little idea of things that are important to me, such as the name of my boyfriend or what degree I got. You don't seem to understand that I live with a roommate whose food I can't just give away to unexpected guests, and that my education costs leave me without money to entertain people at my home. I'm not sure what you meant by wasting money on me, but I have never asked for you to spend money on me or hinted that I would do likewise for you. Despite the fact that we have different lifestyles, I still think we can be on good terms. I am hurt that you would call me a B and that you think it's appropriate to uninvite me from Christmas at my mother's house. She is my mother, and until she tells me that I'm not welcome at her home, I expect to have a civil visit with you and your children this Christmas. First off, I come from a conservative Catholic household. My mom is very religious and very closed-minded and probably an undiagnosed narcissist. Anyone non-white or non-Catholic scares her, and God forbid I start dating anything but that, which is exactly what I did. I met this guy through Tinder. He's Arab and Muslim, with a very obvious Muslim name. And though he tells me his parents are religious, he's not. He's told me a lot that his parents would K him if they found out the stuff he does. We've been going out steadily for the past 6 months, and everything was great. We were very easygoing with each other, and I've never felt so at peace in a relationship. Last week, my mom flew in for a surprise visit. She literally just showed up at my doorstep, and so I had no time to clean up or anything. But I didn't have anything to hide in my apartment, so it wasn't an issue. Until she found a pair of the guy's boxers in my room. She basically interrogated me, asking me who he was, and she wanted to meet him, and blah blah. I lied and told her there was no one, but she obviously didn't take my word for it. Cue the next morning. I wake up and go to text my usual good morning message to him, only to find that my texts aren't going through, and my convos with him deleted. I thought something was buggy, so I decided to message him through Snapchat, only to find that his username is gone from my list. I check Instagram and confirm that he's blocked me. When I go to call his number, I find an hour-long call on my call logs with him while I was sleeping the night before. I try to call him, but his phone goes directly to voicemail, an indicator that he's added me to his block list. It was then that I noticed that all of his friends have blocked me as well. I confront my mother, who acts like she has no idea what I'm talking about, even though she's the only one who had access to my phone at that time. I then go to his apartment, only to be told by the doorman, who I've come to be acquainted with over time, that I'm not allowed into the building. I'm so heartbroken. This happened last week, and the pain hasn't gotten any easier. I miss him so much. I think I even may have started loving him, and I keep hoping I'll run into him sometime randomly so I can ask him what the hell is going on. I don't know what my mom would have said to him to make him so determined to throw everything away. My only guess is that she threatened to reach out to his parents and tell them everything, as she had done that before with one of my sister's relationships. Has anyone been in a situation like this? I'd love any help I can get to reach out to him. I've tried everything I can think of, including sending him out a letter by mail, to which I didn't get a reply to. Thank you. Edit. To clear up some things, we don't live in the U.S. We live in a liberal Muslim majority country. There is no problem with the public relationship here by law, and there wouldn't be a way for my mother to threaten to deport him or his family as suspected. Because A, his family doesn't live here, and B, We are in a Muslim-majority country, and it would take a lot more than a white lady's accusation to get someone in trouble like that. So what I can assume is that she threatened to contact his parents directly and tell them. If she read our convos, it did state stuff about S and D and drinking. All big no's for his parents, and enough to get him disowned. About us, or just perhaps told him stuff about me that scared him away. I don't know. I will try to talk to her again once I calm down and try to see what she said. But I'm not counting on any answers, because she's not the type to give them. The only reason I'm in contact with her now is because without a relationship with her, I'm banned from talking to my younger brother, who lives at home with her. In a couple months, he'll be 18 and in college, and that's when I'll cut her off for good. For those of you asking about phone lock, yes, my phone did have a passcode, but it was just my birthday and extremely easy to guess if you know me and my birthday. I never thought I'd have to put a lock for anyone that knows me personally, and it served just for privacy in case my phone was stolen or anything like that. In the meantime, I'm going to take the advice some of you gave me about writing him a last letter, explaining my side, and then letting it go. I can't really chase someone around who's determined to stay away. I do not think the priority is getting this guy back. Whatever your mother did freaked him out so bad that he's taken extraordinary steps to cut off contact with you. You need to give him space now that you exhausted your options of getting in touch. Any further contact, despite obvious attempts to prevent them, could be viewed as harassment. Your priority is to cut off contact with your mother. I have no words to describe how disturbing it is that she did what she did.